Okay. So this course is a course on mindfulness meditation. So what I was curious to know is, what do people understand mindfulness meditation to be? Does anybody want to kick that one off? That's pretty close. Being present and being mindful of what's going on. Yeah. Anyone else have anything you want to add to that? Awareness of the contents of your mind. Okay. Being aware of awareness and not just the contents of your mind. That was from Nancy. Anyone online want to share what they think mindfulness meditation is?
Trying not to attach to the thoughts that you have and bringing yourself back to your anchor.
Who's that?
It's Kimberly.
Kimberly. Hi, Kimberly.
Hi.
Can you say that again? Trying not to.
Sure. Trying not to attach yourself to your thoughts, but bringing yourself back to your anchor, whether it be your breath or your nostrils or, time and time again. Just keep going
Yeah.
back.
And they call that familiarity. And I'll speak to that in a moment. And so what I wanted to do today is, before we even started, so because we're in a Tibetan Buddhist Gompa, this particular course will be done within the Lama Tsongkhapa's tradition, the Gulub tradition. And there's, many mindfulness meditations courses are taught out there, but ours, the course that we're doing today, is within the FPMT. So Lama Yeshe and Lama Zopa Rinpoche. And because we are in a Tibetan Buddhist Gompa, the traditional way to do when you come into a Gompa is to say hello to the Buddhas on the wall and on the altar. And for some of us, all these images are just that. They're just images. But, for some of the lamas, they actually see them in what they call the Sambhogakaya aspect. So they actually see them and can communicate with them. So I don't personally have that ability, but who's to say it's not happening? So one of the things to do is to sort of make just 3 prostrations to the altar. So I'm going to tell you what Lama Yeshe says about that, because it's not necessarily about bowing down to some god or some icon or some holy object. It's more about prostrating to yourself. So the whole of this course is about developing actually compassion for yourself. So this is doing a course like this, learning how to meditate, learning how to control your mind, actually is an act of self-compassion, self-care. So I think it's actually really quite beautiful. So this is what I wanted to introduce you to Lama Yeshe's. He calls making prostrations, making space for wisdom. Why do we make prostrations at the beginning of teaching and meditation sessions? It's to beat our ego down a bit. Egocentric pride looks at things very superficially and never sees the nature of reality. When we prostrate, we're not prostrating to the material objects on the altar, but paying homage to true understanding wisdom. People who have taken Dharma teachings before know this well. I mention it mainly for new students. Prostration isn't just a Buddhist custom. To make sure that giving teachings does not become an ego trip, even great teachers like His Holiness the Dalai Lama will prostrate before they get up on the throne. In fact, to diminish pride and become more grounded in reality, both teacher and student should prostrate before a teaching. Otherwise, there's no space for understanding wisdom. The proud mind is like a desert. Nothing can grow in a mind full of pride. That's why we prostrate towards the altar prior to giving and taking teachings. In our everyday lives, we prostrate to things that are not worthwhile. Of course, we don't say that we're prostrating, but we are in fact constantly paying homage to our pride and ego. Instead of prostrating to pride and ego, we should prostrate to understanding wisdom. The Tibetan term for prostration is chagsal. In Sanskrit, chag is mudra. The interpretive meaning of mudra is wisdom. Understanding, knowledge, wisdom is the actual mudra. Sal means to bow down before or pay homage to obeisance or to something. Therefore, chagsal means to bow down to wisdom. And when we prostrate, our mental attitude should be one that recognizes the harmful nature of egocentric pride and understands that knowledge wisdom is the only worthwhile guide. If you don't have this respectful attitude, you might as well not bow down. If you're not prostrating with your mind, then there's no need to prostrate physically simply for the sake of show or custom. Tradition is not that important, but if you recognize how your pride functions and prostrate to wisdom instead, that is very effective. And doing so makes prostrations a means of training your mind. So what we're going to do now is 3 prostrations. And with that idea in mind of actually you're not only prostrating to your own wisdom, you're prostrating to all the people who've taught you anything in your life, your kindergarten teacher, the person who taught you ABC. Because of that person, you now know how to read Dharma and you know how to listen. So we're also prostrating to our own potential, our own Buddha potential when we do this. So let's get up and I'll show you how it goes. Together. If you have a physical problem and frustration is difficult, you can just go like this with the camera. Hi. We start here. The Buddha has a Rosnisha on the top of his head. So you start with the crown of the head, the third eye, the throat chakra, and then the heart chakra. Some people do it differently. Some people you'll see they just kind of slide down, but I kind of like to touch all these different chakras. So you've got the crown, the forehead, that's they call that the third eye, the throat, and the heart. So, and then it goes like this, and I will do the little chant. And so, you know, you can just take in all these beautiful holy objects. This is actually an incredibly blessed space. There have been many, many lamas in here. Lamas are British and I don't know as well. Yeah. Oh, there's so many. So it's an extremely blessed place, and many people have been doing practices in that for the things have not. Oh, Namo Manju Shri Namo Sushri Namo Tima Shri Eso Om Namo Manju Shri Namo Sushri Namo Tima Shri Eso Om Namo Manju Shri Namo Sushri Namo Tima Shri Eso. Then you said hello to everyone and hello to your own Buddha potential. Okay.
So you do this before and after you prostrate?
Yeah, just before each one.
Okay. And after also?
And then yeah, actually, yes, after I do. It just kind of continues.
Okay.
Because I did a prostration retreat in Bulgaria, and it was just going on forever. So somehow I got into that habit. But it, you know, it depends on who you are learning that from.
Okay.
Everybody does it slightly differently. Some people will touch maybe just 3 places, some people touch 4. But, you know, it also depends on what you are comfortable. She's facing me around and I'm like, what you're comfortable with. Okay. All right, let's sit down. I'm going to introduce this course, give you a little bit of a path about where we're going with this course. And how did the prostrations go with my online people?
May I ask a question? It's Kimberly.
Yes. Kimberly,
I'm
hi.
Hi, I'm physically disabled, so I can't get down or anything like that. So what do you
Okay.
suggest for me?
You just go like, can you do this?
I can, yeah.
That's what you do.
That's good enough.
And as Lamieshi said, this is not a physical exercise, it's a mental exercise.
Okay.
You know, the physical assists us because we're having to bow down. And for some people, that's actually quite difficult to do. Like it touches, it kind of sets off their ego a little bit. So, but if you have some reason you can't actually do that physically, then you can just go like this. Then if you can't even do that, you just imagine it in your mind.
Okay, I can do that. Wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. It's totally fine. Who's that over there? John and Millie. Okay. And Cheryl, hi. Later. All right. So this is an introductory course. People, I keep looking over there. Where's the best place to see the online people? That's the camera. Okay. All right. Hello, people. So it's quite a suitable
Excuse
course.
me, sorry
Yeah.
to interrupt, but when you said, where do I look for the online people? The way that you were just looking at me a moment ago looks directly at me, but where you're looking right now, I see the side of your face. Just so you know. Now I see your whole face. I just thought I would let you know.
So here, where I'm looking this way,
Yes.
online people can see me here. So then what I'm going to do is put my computer here, because then I can look at the,
Thank you.
there you go.
Thank
Then,
you.
there you go. Let's see how well I do. All right. Is everybody happy? Who was that?
It's Cheryl.
Okay, Cheryl, thank you. And Mina and Louisa were unable to see the lower body part of the prostration. Okay. Do you want me to do it again?
We were not able to see the lower body part of you. We only saw you from like the chest up.
Okay. Can you zoom out so I can just show them quickly? And did everybody else get it? Though I'll just do it really quickly. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Can you see me now?
Yes. Yes. Millie can see you.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you just kind of go like this. And then you just kind of, it's almost like you're going for a swim. That's diving into a pool, except you don't.
Yeah.
It's sort of like a mini downward dog for those people who do yoga. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Okay, there we go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Much.
No worries. Okay, let's get back to the course. I also recently received accreditation for teaching a tech. It's like a moving meditation. It's called Tai Chi Chuan. It not to be confused with Tai Chi Chuan. Tai Chi Chuan is a martial art, and this is so. I'm also employed by the YMCA as a as a sub for my Tai Chi Chuan teacher. So we are going to do at some point one of the moves from Tai Chi Chuan, so that everybody gets to experience what moving meditation is like, and so maybe we can apply some of the mindfulness meditation to there as well. Excuse me. Okay. So, like I said, we're doing this mindfulness course within the framework of Buddhism. So, like I said, also sometimes it's taught without any without any context at all. So it's taught in businesses just to help people sort of settle their minds. But ours is a course. We're in a Buddhist center, so that's where we're coming from. Okay. So the course is designed for 1.5 to 2 hours, allowing for people to have some kind of discussion, some kind of feedback. And so the learning objectives are learning the nature of mindfulness to start with, and it's to identify mindfulness as attention engaging with a chosen object without distraction. So that is actually something quite difficult to do, but we are doing it all the time when we have objects of attachment. So, you know, if there's your partner, for example, you know, there's absolutely no distraction when you want to think about them, or your kids, or your Netflix movie or thing that you're binging. Where it's amazing how mindful we can be when we're doing something that we're completely enjoying and attached to. So when we're not enjoying something, or we have to want to control the mind, and the mind starts to want to do its own thing, which is get distracted, it's actually quite hard to control. I want to show you this very sweet. So some people here have actually done this course with me before. So I'm sorry for you that are having to see this more than once. Can I share this? Just let me. I try now. So here's me trying to meditate. This monkey is this sort of elephant is my mind, and this monkey is all the distractions. So down here you can see, look at us, this is all of us. I just love this. I think everybody can relate to that anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to try to know the main condition for strengthening mindfulness through repeated engagement. So bringing the mind back again and again and again to the same object. So whether it's the object of whether it's the breath, in many respects, the breath is the thing we have the most intimacy with in our life, because we're with it all the time. It's the thing that we're closest to, believe it or not. It's our best friend. And sort of also we know that mindfulness is assisted by introspection. And introspection is a kind of an awareness that alerts us to when we're a little bit off the track. So introspection can be like our mother. So, we're walking along the edge of a cliff and you've got a little child next to you, and the child starts to wander. The mother immediately pulls the child back off the edge of the cliff. So those of you who've been parents know exactly what it's like to manage children when you're getting in and out of the car near a street. It takes a lot of introspection to keep those children under control. So we'll be learning about that. And so we're going to be applying mindfulness to the object of meditation in order to develop deeper concentration. And we're going to try and calm the disturbances of the body and the mind. So those of you who have any kind of body issues at all, they might be speaking to you quite loudly. And so that might be the thing that you need to calm down the most. Some people here have disturbances of the mind, particularly if you've had a disagreement with somebody recently, something like that, or you have some issues coming up. The thing is to try and steady the mind, steady the mind, steady the mind, and just allow all of those things that are very, very disturbing to us to calm down, because we can't navigate our life while we're in a disturbed state. So the mindfulness is really the first step in reaching calm abiding. You can't go anywhere without it. So we need to develop a level of concentration where we can kind of, at least, if we can't control our mind, but we can at least be aware of what's going on in the mind. So many of these tragic, should I even bring this into this class, people where, somebody's been murdered. And it was just a momentary anger that they couldn't control, after which they have the most enormous regret. And it's like, if you had done a little bit of meditation, this would never have happened. And it's almost like, of course, there's this issue of karma involved. But when I read about cases in the news, like I was reading about the Chris Watts case, I don't know if you all heard about that one, but it just is so tragic. It was so unnecessary that this man did what he did to his family. And I just think, if you had been able to see your anger, this would not have happened. And so I just think a lot of the time also too, if we are in control of our emotions, the karma that might come at a particular time of immense anger isn't probably going to ripen. So I think it's really essential that we get a hold of our mind. And so, very often we think, oh, it doesn't matter what goes on in my mind. No one else is hearing, but it does matter what's going on in your mind. everything you see, everything you take in, everything you watch, every game you play, everything you listen to leaves an imprint on your mental continuum. And so we have to be careful what we put in there. You know, we talk about eating junk food, and yet we watch all kinds of stuff on the television or I don't know, can you call it television anymore? I don't know. What do you call it, these digital devices that we have? And I even watch stuff and I'm like, why am I watching this? It's like, this is what I want in my mind anyway. So we also want to look at the kinds of obstacles that hinder practice. And these are dullness. So before Bay took me out to lunch and we were looking at the menu to see what kind of food is going to put us asleep this afternoon. So dullness and distraction. And I think we flip between the two. You know, dullness usually happens after lunch and you feel really sleepy, you feel kind of bored. Distraction is, what's going on over there? What's that noise? Oh, yes. Can I have something to drink? You know, where's that sugar? What's the cat doing? Yeah. You know what? Everyone knows what distraction is. Okay. So there's also this thing called impulsive involuntary thinking. I think we also have an experience of that too. We're going to practice some stabilizing meditation as well. We'll probably start with that. We want to develop a little bit of discerning wisdom. So we will apply mindfulness to that and examine the object of mindfulness, such as thoughts. And there'll be a meditation on mindfulness of thoughts. It's quite a beautiful meditation. Okay. Then at the end, we're going to look at nurturing ourselves and others. So loving kindness towards ourselves and others. This is kind of towards the end of the course. All right. And then we want to sort of think about how to move forward after doing a course like this to make use of appropriate methods to support and reinforce our meditation practice in our daily life. So this is not just something that we do for a little bit and then forget it. Okay, so there is some, I had this document that I'm working from now sent to all of you. There's a book that's recommended in there called Following the Buddha's Footsteps by His Holiness the Dalai Lama and Venerable Thupten Chodron. I had a quick look at it and it's fairly heady and fairly intellectual. But if that's where your mind goes, go ahead and read it. $17 online, but definitely will be worthwhile reading, particularly for those people who like a bit more academic look at things. And then, of course, there's this beautiful book called How to Meditate by Venerable Sangye Kadro and Venerable Rabina. So they work together on that book. Okay. The first okay. I wanted to read the definition of mindfulness. How are we going for time? Okay. So with mindfulness, its observed object is a familiar object. So mindfulness doesn't occur with an unfamiliar object. So we have to find an object of familiarity. So that could be the breath. It could be an image of the Buddha. For our loved ones, it's a picture of our loved ones. For our children, it's a photo of our children. My friend Judith has a great grandson. Nobody can stop looking at this boy. He's so beautiful. But I have almost an image imprinted in my mind of this kid. I've seen so many pictures of him. The subjective aspect of manner of apprehension is not forgetting the object. So your mind is not forgetful. So your mind does not forget what it's doing. So this is what a lot of people think mindfulness is, from moment to moment, remembering what it is doing. So, you know, as we get older, I walk out of the kitchen into my bedroom and I'm like, what did I come in here for? So I think everybody can relate to that. So mindfulness is not doing that. It's not forgetting, thinking, remembering what you're doing from moment to moment. And when you think about acrobats, tightrope walkers, they have to be, any kind of high level athlete, they absolutely have to be spot on. Surfers, snowboarders, all of these people, when you see the level and the skill at which they're executing their bodies, they need to be focused moment to moment. The minute they lose even one tiny second of focus, they have an accident. So for us, it's not that drastic, but we need to be able to know what it is we're doing from moment to moment, because the mind is like that monkey, it's going everywhere. So the function is to keep your attention from wandering from the object of meditation. So mindfulness in this particular course is the glue that connects our mind and attention to the chosen object of meditation and sustains the connection over time. Familiarity is the key element of this definition of mindfulness, and just complete repetition over and over again. Okay. So we also need to develop concentration. So when you do these courses, these 10-day Vipassana courses, you spend 4 days learning how to concentrate 9 hours a day. So it's quite tough. And I don't know how it's run here in the US, but when I was doing them in Australia, it was first 4 days concentration, 8 or 9 hours a day. So, okay. And, okay, well, let's just keep going. Where am I? Okay. So what we're going to do in this first session is we've talked a little bit about what mindfulness is and the importance of mindfulness. We're going to do a guided meditation of mindfulness of the body through touch. Then we're going to talk a little bit about mindfulness and meditative concentration, and then we'll do a body scan meditation, and then we should be finished. Does anybody have any questions based on what I've said so far? Anything they would like to share? Anyone here? Does it all make sense or does it not make sense? It's making sense. Okay. So we covered this a little bit, but to be fully mindful is to allow whatever it is that we are noticing to come fully to mind or fully to our conscious awareness. So in this particular tradition, there's 4 characteristics: without forgetfulness, which I just mentioned. You don't lose sight of it. You don't forget about what it is you're doing. So depending on familiarity, how familiar we are with the object. So the greater the familiarity, the stronger the association. So then we're less likely to forget. So it's like you probably know you could probably even trace in your mind how to get from your house to your local store. But if you go to some strange place, you need to rely on Siri or Google Maps to get you there. But for your local store, you can do it in your head. And mindfulness serves to keep our attention from wandering away from its object. And when we're mindful of an object, we want to be certain of that object. So we fully attend to it, get to know it with a sense of certainty. We're not doing this half-heartedly or absent-mindedly. Oh, I think I'll just sit down to meditate. I think I'll just go down the shop. And then you kind of lose concentration halfway and you end up somewhere else. So mindfulness actually is, we have this quality naturally. This is something that's innate within us, but somehow we just lose sight of it through karma, through obscurations, through whatever. And we do have an innate ability to pay attention. Our minds are really, really powerful, and we should not forget that. Sometimes I think that we think that we're completely under the control of our own mind, but actually it's not true. We do have the power, we do have the ability to control the mind. It's just a matter of training. So if anyone here, so Bay is a yoga teacher as well as the SPC and a mother. So if anyone has done any kind of physical training, you understand how much it takes to keep the body under control, particularly as we're aging. And it takes quite a bit of effort. Yeah, doesn't just happen overnight. It's something you have to want to do, and it's something you have to put some effort into. So you can't just kind of be good at yoga by attending 1 class a week. 1 class a week, okay, 2 classes a week, maybe 3 classes a week, you might start to see something happening. 5 classes a week, you're going to sort of see a huge movement forward in how strong the body is, how flexible the body is. So the mind's the same. Have to pay attention to what's going on in there. So we have to catch those moments where we have irritation or anger or self-doubt or self-criticism. And I think the main problem for us here in the West is just this incredible, we're so good at putting ourselves down. I'm not good enough. I haven't done enough. I should be so much better. That mother over there is a much better mother than me. It just goes on and on and on. And it's like, we need to develop a relationship with ourselves where we become our own best friend, not our own worst enemy, like that person that's really horrible or talks about you behind your back. It's kind of like that's the relationship we have each other with ourselves right now. We need to sort of stop that. It's like you wouldn't talk to a 3-year-old the way often we talk to ourselves. So perhaps next time and so what we have to do in the beginning is to even start to realize, oh, there's some negative self-talk going on here. And then you have to, once you've even recognized that negative self-talk, then you have to put a stop to it. So it's even recognizing it first. It's like there's so much going on in the mind. Half the time we don't see what's going on in there. Okay. So because it's a natural ability, we just need to learn how to nurture and strengthen it. So we can just be our own best friend there. We can be our own mothers. It's very popular in modern society, and it's particularly associated with managing our reactions to stress and difficult situations. It's very helpful, I think, because a lot of our problems stem from the delusions that we have in our mind. A lot of our problems stem from anger and jealousy and anxiety and depression and bitterness and grudges. And this is all delusion. It doesn't need to necessarily be there. We can purify all of that. And a lot of it's habitual as well. So you might have this habit of complaining, or, when I walk through I hope there's no one here from England. When I walk through the airport in the United Kingdom, I haven't traveled for quite some time, but anyway, last time I was there, I think it was 2019. And the minute you get into Heathrow, everyone's complaining about something. And I think it might be a British thing because it rains all the time over there. But I was just interested because for some people, kind of complaining about things all the time is so habitual, they don't even realize they're doing it. But when you then take that person and put them in a place where people aren't complaining all the time, it's very obvious that that's what's happening. So if you have this mind that's always complaining and everything's wrong and nothing's right, where do you think you're going to be going? Like this. It's not to say that we should deny when things aren't quite right, but to be not looking out always for the negative things, if that makes any sense at all. So the thing is to try and control the mind before it goes to a place of anxiety, depression, wanting to harm others. The other thing is what we tend to do is not live in the present. So we're living in the future. We're thinking about what we're going to have for dinner tonight. We're thinking about the conversation that we had at lunchtime. So we're never really quite here. And that's our mind perhaps avoiding. I don't know. But I think we all have a habit to be somewhere else other than where we are right now. I think it's also important that we try to somehow where was I going with that? Take responsibility for what's going on inside. Sometimes that takes a little bit of effort as well. So this is where in the 4 opponent powers, the purification meditation we do 5 nights a week with Thupten Lorpa Ling, it's the first of the 4 opponent powers is regret, and regret is about taking responsibility. And part of what taking responsibility is taking responsibility to yourself, what's going on in your own mind. Does anybody have any questions about anything that I've said? Anything you want to share, you people online? Is it making any sense at all? It is? Amazing.
Yes, yes, it is.
Okay. So what I want to do now is I'm gonna really mess with these people's minds here. We're gonna get into a little circle here, and we're going to do a little bit of Tai Chi Chuan. So our technical people are going to be a bit challenged. So I'm going to try something. This is not in the mindfulness course. This is me playing. So we're going to get up and do some movement. Okay. And you know, Bay's a yoga teacher. Do you teach online? Okay, Bay teaches online. So everybody needs to come and do Bay's classes. Okay.
Yeah.
Advertise Bay.
What's your schedule, Bay?
Anybody who has any physical difficulties for some reason you can't stand, please do this in a chair. For those of you who are in a chair, put your feet in about a hip's width apart. So here we are on hip's width apart. So what we're going to do right now is just shift our weight from the front of our foot to the back of the foot. This is a moving meditation. I'm an accredited teacher for Tai Chi Chuan, not Tai Chi Chuan. So I want you to close your eyes and get the experience of moving your weight from the front of the foot to the back of the foot. Please don't fall over. And anybody who's sitting in a chair, you can just do this with your knees. Have your knees very slightly bent. And don't forget to breathe. Okay. So just stay still. And we're just going to start feet about 45-degree angle. Kimberly, you can do this as well. And have your heels about 1 inch or 2 apart. Yeah, it's not first position in ballet, but it's just a kind of a nice, comfortable, yeah. So, and then just bend your knees. This is where the robes are a little difficult. So bend your knees a little bit. And lengthen the spine. Have your hands just as if you're pressing down, I don't know, a cloud of air. So this will be, they'd say, talk about pressing the heart fire down into like the water of the kidneys, something. So as you're here, just close your eyes and imagine lengthening your spine. So just a little bit of bend in the knee. Lengthen the spine. Shoulders are aligned with the hips. Imagine that spine is a string of pearls of light, and it stretches from the base all the way up through the crown of the head. Okay, now shift your weight to your right foot and move the left foot out to a parallel position, and then also adjust the right foot. So now both feet are in a parallel position. Knees are over your big toe. And then we're just going to take our hands as if we're kind of, you know, when you go through a nice pool of warm water. Okay, and then just breathe. And then just look in the center of the room. You can look at a spot about, or you can look at me, doesn't matter. But just imagine. It's beautiful, everyone. So just imagine you're bringing your hands through like warm air. Make it as soft as possible. And then just bend the knees as you move forward. You shift your weight very slightly to the front of the feet and then back to the sole of the foot. And you just kind of curve around. It's almost like you're lifting. So you can actually feel something here. There's a little bit of energy. There you go. So don't lift, you don't need to lift higher than your shoulders. So just relax your shoulders there. There you go. And a little bit of a bend in the arm. There you go. Just relax your hand. Okay, so just stop for a second. Everyone. Just go like this. Just shake it out. Have a little stretch. Hands like this. Stretch top of the head. And just don't let your back go. Pull the ribs in. There we go. And stretch. And then just relax. Let's start again. Take a nice deep breath. This is the go into pause position. This is the pause position with the feet like that. Okay. Shift your weight to the right. Move the left foot out. Then turn the right foot in. And then we just start. And then now what you can do is just take your weight back till the toes come off. Bring your weight forward so the heels lift up. But you're not lifting the heels up. It's the weight shift that's moving you forward. That's right. We sometimes lose a little balance, and that's okay. Okay. But just imagine you're kind of moving through really thick, heavy air. So, babe, just relax your fingers a little. So imagine for all of us, I have very active fingers as well. So imagine it's your wrists that are pulling you up. So just let the hands go. Release the fingers. So just stop for a moment. We just stop here. And go like this. How are the people online? Are you feeling included? We'll be back in a minute. Okay, then just put this eyes in front of your, sorry, your hands in front of your eyes. Rub your hands together again. And then just go like this. What are you feeling in between your hands? Like there's nothing in between the hands, right? Except there's something. There's nothing, but there's something. Now, if I stand really close, there's a point at which it's too close. Do you know what I mean? You know when a person's breached your personal space. So we're talking about energy here. And this is also something we need to be aware of when we're meditating as well. So let's just try this again. This is called rocking motion. It's actually really quite soothing. You can do this in the supermarket. Well done. Just everybody relax your shoulders. Breathe. And we usually do this about 9 times each movement. This is the first one. We can learn the next one next time if you like it. So just imagine you're well done, everyone. Can't see anyone online. I hope you're doing it okay. I think Marion was interested in learning this. So Marion, this is the first movement. Okay, so shift to the left. Put your weight to the left. Release the foot back to a 45-degree angle, then bring the left foot in. And then we're back in pause position. So this is where we start and finish. Okay. All right, everyone. How was that? Did you like that? What's the yoga person's going to like that? Okay. All right, come on, let's go sit down. Sorry, you have to be in the present. How are you doing there, everyone? Did the people online enjoy that? You did? It's so amazing. I'm following along. Okay. So sorry, what's your name again? Gito. One of the points Gito made was that you need to be present in order to not fall over. And Gito was doing that movement mostly with her eyes closed, right? You seem to have your eyes closed, yeah. So one of the things also that we have been doing in yoga that I found really interesting is, because my teacher's a Vini yoga teacher, so therapeutic yoga. So there's a lot of breath involved. So what she's been asking us to do is pause in between the inhale and the exhale. And so what I've been discovering is during that transition of pause, I've been learning how to become present, because I've found being present somehow is in the transition rather than the previous movement or the following movement. So, and I find this is what I find really interesting about airports, is you're in transition. You're not anywhere. You're not where you left. You're not where you arrived. You're in transit. And I find it a really curious place to be, because you're in this sort of transition phase and you are very, very present. I find myself very present in those times anyway. So that's just something I've discovered recently. So I thought I'd put that out for you to think about, how present you feel when you're in the transition. So think about also, we'll explore this when we do breath next week a bit, but think about how present you feel in between the breath, in between the inhale and the exhale. So just putting out there for something for you to explore. Okay. So we're going to do now a guided meditation, and it's called Simple Mindfulness of Body Through Physical Touch. Before we start, I want to know if anyone has anything they'd like to share or they'd like to say, or questions they'd like to ask. This meditation will take about half an hour. No? Okay. I always worry when no one has anything to say. I'm like, are you just bored or okay. We will be placing our hands on different parts of the body, starting with the head. We're going to be drawing our attention back to our own body continuously, but towards the sensations of touch on the body and also on the hand that is touching the body. So we've done this recently with Thupten Norba Ling, and one of the things that was really interesting is that one person said, I could feel my hand touching my head, but I couldn't feel my head touching my hand. So that's something to become aware of. Are you feeling it both ways? So that's a kind of a curious thing that I found. Okay. And then I want you to think about if there's anything you'd like to say after the meditation you'd like to share. So if something comes up, maybe hang on to it and then let us know at the end, because it's also very helpful for other people if people share their experiences. Sometimes people are too shy to talk. So sometimes it can be also very, very helpful if people say something. Okay. So let's just settle into meditation posture. So for everybody here is sitting on chairs except for Bay, who's on the floor on a cushion, meditation cushion. So for those of you at home who are on a chair, feet down, flat on the floor, and you can just close your eyes and take a breath. So for those of you whose feet are on the floor, really try and get a feeling of groundedness through your feet. So one of my Tai Chi Chuan teachers used to talk about suction cups. So I got this image of like octopus tentacles on sucking my feet to the floor. But you can just feel the outside of the foot, the toe mound, the pinky mound, the ball of the foot. Just get a sensation of the feel of your feet in shoes or socks or on the carpet. And for those of you sitting cross-legged, if you would like, you can just kind of reach down and grab your foot. So it's good to kind of ground ourselves through our feet. then have your knees about a hip's width apart and be really sitting right on top of your sits bones. So what we're doing here is going through this traditional posture of how to sit in the Buddhist tradition. Shoulders are aligned with the hips, and your hands are in just a comfortable position resting in your lap. Traditionally, the right hand, where's the camera? Right hand is resting in the left with the thumbs touching. If that's difficult for you, you can kind of place your hands wherever you feel like on your, just resting on your lap. Rhonda, there's quite a bit of movement on your camera. I'm just wondering if you can stay still. Are you able? Yeah, thank you. I take a nice deep breath. And then this isn't often mentioned in the sitting posture, but your not only your shoulders align with your hips, but you know, I think I read every inch your head is out of alignment with your spine adds an extra 10 pounds of weight, of misalignment. And I will confirm that. But I think just for now, imagine someone's got you by the ears and they're just lengthening the neck. And then just imagine you're just gliding your head backwards to align with your shoulders. So you may have to just put a little bit of energy into keeping that alignment. So you imagine, as I mentioned before, your spine is a string of pearls of light. It stretches from the base all the way up through the crown of the head. So you can imagine you have like a puppet, a puppeteer above you, holding that string of light, very gently lengthening your spine. And breathe. Now already, we've done almost nothing. We've just settled our body. The mind, I can feel the energy in the room. The mind has already started to come. So this is so simple for us to be able to do. It takes maybe a minute. Now, traditionally, you would lengthen the back of the neck and just allow the head sort of to tip downwards, not forward out of alignment, just a little bit, drop the chin, lengthen the back of the neck. You can imagine your eyes looking down the length of the nose to a spot in front about a couple of inches ahead of you. Traditionally, they suggest the eyes to be open or even just cracked open slightly. And what this does is it enables, when you have the eyes open a little bit, to brighten the mind. If our eyes are closed, sometimes it's less of a distraction for us, but also it can be a signal to send us off to dullness and sleep. So here you've immediately got information about distraction and dullness. And breathe. Now, be aware of any sound in your environment. So many of you are at home. You may have people in your house, pets in your house. So just watch how fast the mind wants to go off to any sound whatsoever. So just notice Just allow the sounds to be there and try not to follow them with the mind. Or just let the sounds alone. Let them do their own thing. Unless, of course, it's an emergency, it's obvious that you need to pay attention. And now we start to look at the mind. So what's going on for you this afternoon, this evening, wherever you are? And just notice the thoughts and try not to follow them, judge them. Try not to be critical. So just look at the thoughts with some semblance of objectivity, curiosity. Oh, that's interesting. That's some anger arising, or there's some jealousy, or there's some boredom, or oh, actually, look at here, I am kind of happy. So in many respects, if you're seeing something a little darker in there, just rejoice, because you're definitely not the only one. And breathe. So there's this beautiful analogy from Mingyur Rinpoche, who's in the Kagyu tradition, and he talks about sitting yourself on the bank of a river. This is an analogy for the mind. And you watch that river flow by and take note of the quality of the water. Maybe the water's still, maybe it's rough, maybe it's clear. And however it's appearing to you, just notice that while you're sitting on that bank, you're free from the river. So one of the things that we talk about in Tibetan Buddhism particularly is this idea of developing compassion. So before you can develop compassion, you need to think about equanimity. So we're going to bring that in here. And this very simple meditation on equanimity brings in your friends, your loved ones. So bring them to your mind. People you love, have deep connections with. And then there's those people who you have a bit of difficulty with. And then there's the strangers. Now, I passed thousands of strangers on my way down here in cars. And I still don't seem to think that there's people in those cars. They're just cars, but they're cars with people in with lives and joys and sadness and problems, and just like all of us. So there are all these strangers all around us all the time. So some of you here were strangers to me before you walked in the room. Now you're not, because I know your names and I've spent an hour with you. So think about all the strangers. Then how many of you have had relationships in your lives that have changed from a friend to an enemy? How many of you had someone you didn't like become someone who you really love? How many of you have somebody in your life that was a complete stranger in 2018 and now is your just dearest friend? So this is where we bring in this idea of impermanence. Things change all the time. It's a big deal in Tibetan Buddhism, impermanence, this idea of change. Of course, that leads to discussion about death, but we won't go there today. So apart from them, the friend, the enemy, and the stranger all changing place, they're all equal in their wish to be happy and their wish to be free from suffering. And they all have this extraordinary capacity, like every single person here in this room, to become enlightened, to have this Buddha mind. So before we continue, we'll just, even though we're an hour in, we'll just motivate for all of these people in our life, motivate and dedicate the energy, the positive energy of this session to all these people of our life, even the strangers. And then particularly for those people who we know who have passed. And then I'll think about Geshe Dadal, the one who so tragically drowned in, everybody probably knows about him, in this, goes for a walk and somehow fell into a pond. And then there's others we know. So there's strangers, the friends, the ones we don't like. So now we make use of the power of physical touch to help us return mindfulness to our own body. So we're going to gently rest our hands on different parts of our body, one part at a time, and allow the sense of touch to draw our attention to that part of the body there. So some of you have done this meditation with me before. So don't try and massage your body or, it's just a very gentle touch. So it's almost like we did with the Tai Chi Chuan moving meditation. It's almost like light enough that you feel energy, light enough that you can also sense that your hand is there. So start at the crown and gently rest one hand on the top of your head. So just allow your sense of touch to draw your attention there. And we're going to pause here for probably 3 or so breaths. And can you feel the warmth of your hand on your crown? Can you feel the warmth of the crown in your hand? Do you feel the weight of your hand on the crown? Can you sense something that's sort of indiscernible from the crown of the head into the hand? Now moving down to our face, place both hands gently on the face and notice the sensations there. If you have glasses or eyewear, you might want to just take that off for a moment. And are you tensing up any of the facial muscles? And can you relax those muscles? Can you give yourself a different feeling of softness and gentleness, ease and comfort in the face? And relax your shoulders. Now bring your hands to your throat, your neck, and just very gently rest them there. So can we sense the touch of our hands and any other sensations there? And don't choke yourselves. just very gently. You're bringing your attention to your neck, to your throat. You can maybe put one hand at the back of the neck if you like, one hand at the front. Now put left hand on your right shoulder, right hand on your left shoulder, if you can. And just gently rest them there, or they can just hang off. Maybe your hands or fingers are hanging. Can you sense the touch of your hands? What other sensations are there? So just release the right hand, place it on your thigh, and then just have your left hand resting on your shoulder. And so here our heater is just kicked in. So for a moment, notice the distraction, and then bring your attention back to the hand, the weight of the hand on the shoulder. You feel the muscles of the shoulder underneath your fingertips. How is your shoulder feeling today? This could be your new best friend. So slide your left hand down to your right elbow and just rest there, lightly holding onto it with your left hand, and just notice the sensations there. All the while remembering to breathe. Now move your left hand down to your right wrist. And place your left hand on top of your right hand. And just sense the warmth and the touch between the hands. So can you feel or notice the difference between the palm of the left hand resting on the right hand and the skin of the top of the right hand touching the palm of the left? Now place the right hand on the left shoulder. It's probably easier than doing both. And just let the weight of your arm, your right arm, just let it hang there for a bit. But try and keep an upright posture. Just notice the sensations. Move down to the elbow. And then place your right hand on your left wrist. And maybe you have a watch there. Or was it on the other hand? Anyway, just feel the sensations there. And then place the right hand on top of the left. And maybe you can bring your hands into prayer. And then just open your eyes for a minute, see what I'm doing here. So go from prayer. So you're holding your own hand. Close your eyes and just see how that feels. It's quite comforting. So notice the energy going from one hand to the next. The palms touching. Now open your hands and place them on the chest, the left hand underneath the right. And place them over your heart chakra. And what can you sense there? Can you feel the beating of the heart, the rhythm of the breath? And then just bring your hands to your belly. Again, left hand underneath the right, or you can put both hands on your belly, around about your belly button, just a little bit below. There's a lot happens here. We eat here. This is where our food ends up. This is where we have elimination. This is where it's a base of creativity according to different cultures. And then this is where all our reproductive organs are. Then place your hands on, just get a feel of where your hip bones are. And that might be difficult to access for some. But just get a sense of your hip bones. And then just, while you've got your hands on your hip bones, get a sense of the weight of the whole pelvic region in the seat you're on. And then just slide your hands down again. Just rest them on the thigh, on your quads. And then the knees. To really feel the sensations there, the weight of your hands on your knees, the shape of your knee in your hands. And then for those of you in cross-legged position, you can maybe just grab a hold of your feet. For those of you sitting, you can just bring your attention down to your feet. Notice the sensations at the soles of the feet, the top of the foot, the weight of the foot into the floor, your toes. Can you rest both legs on the ground and release their weight to gravity? So just allow your body to rest, feeling the sensations. And we'll meditate like this for 2 minutes. And just notice where your mind goes. Okay, everyone, just relax. And open your eyes in your own time. Does anyone have anything they'd like to share? Anyone here have anything they want to share?
The sound of the rain.
Who's that? Oh, that's John. What's happening? You can hear the rain?
Yeah, it's pouring down rain outside.
Where are you?
Redwood City.
Ah, okay.
It's very soothing.
Oh, good. Okay.
We need the
Was it-
rain.
Was it a distraction?
Well, it was an awareness, but I
Okay.
didn't find it a distraction because I like the sound of it, but
Uh-huh.
it's just around me.
So it became part of your meditation. Is that what you're saying?
I think that's a good way of putting it. Yes.
Okay.
I
So it's
wasn't
almost like you,
I wasn't thinking of it that way, but
yeah,
it was part of it.
it sounds like you brought it into your meditation mandala, so to speak. I'm going to talk in Buddhist esoteric terms. Beautiful. Okay, thanks for sharing that. Anyone else? Oh, Marion had to leave. Marion's looking after a very sick husband right now. So
Oh.
anybody here have anything? Oh, hi, yes.
Said to leave your eyes open.
Say that
Right.
again.
You said to leave your eyes open while meditating. I was having a hard time doing that.
Yeah, it is. It's sort of a little bit more advanced. So one of the things that you can do is I honestly myself prefer to keep my eyes closed. But if you find that you're falling asleep or you're getting, your mind's getting dull, you can just crack your eyes open very, very slightly to a little bit of light in. And that does help to brighten the mind a little bit.
Okay, but you don't have to keep them open.
No, but some meditators, more advanced meditators do. Because of course this means, oh. And some people are thinking they're having the most wonderful meditation experience, but actually they're just kind of floating off into space. And it's not the body that's meditating, it's the mind. So we're not looking for pleasant, I mean, it's not really the goal. It's good if pleasant experiences are a byproduct, but the goal is to focus the mind. The goal is controlling the mind. Yeah. It's a bit like yoga is very relaxing, but it's not really I don't know. Is it the goal of yoga to relax? I don't know. What is the goal of yoga?
As meditation.
Possibly. I don't know. I have to ask my yoga teacher. Okay. What are we doing now? Oh. We're going to do meditative concentrate. Who has a question? Millie.
I do, Millie.
Oh,
Yes.
and Rhonda also has a question. Millie, you go first and then Rhonda.
Okay. It's not a question, it's a comment about when I was meditating.
Yeah.
When I did have my eyes closed for a moment,
Mm-hmm.
there was some green light coming through. So I noticed that, and I was wondering if there was a meaning to that.
Honestly, I don't really know. All I can say is due to our past, if you have an understanding of past and future lives, due to any past experience of meditating that we may have had and any positive seeds that we may have developed or carried with us through those meditative experiences, we do get some of these really interesting experiences happening. What the lamas always tell us is to kind of enjoy it and keep going, not to get stuck on it too much, because that can also become a distraction. And then the next time you meditate, you have an expectation that the same thing's going to happen, but sometimes it doesn't. So whenever you have something like that, that feels kind of slightly enjoyable or unusual, just rejoice and then try and stay focused, because otherwise you kind of get a bit distracted. Maybe Tara came to visit you. I don't know.
That's exactly what I did. I noticed the green light and it changed shape, the green light. And anyways, I was just wondering about the green light that I noticed.
Yeah. I think that's probably very personal, but yeah, I think people do have these kind of experiences, yeah, when they meditate. Okay.
Thank you.
Rhonda. Yeah, thanks. Rhonda.
I just, I'm unmute. I just didn't hear about that monk who I read in the paper right before I came into a session. I'm sorry I was late, about the Japanese airliner. Then I heard about that monk, so I didn't know about him. So can you share what happened? I'm so sorry.
So there was a Geshe Dadol who had been invited by Venerable Thupten Chodron to be the teacher in residence at the Sravasti Abbey. And he'd been there, I think, only since, maybe a few months, since the beginning of the year or something. And they were due to do Guru Puja, Lama Chepa. And he said he was going to go for a walk. So he went off for a walk and didn't come back. And so then the police went looking for him, and then they had trackers looking for him, and then they had lamas doing mows looking for him. And he just was nowhere to be seen. And it's kind of getting very cold there. So, in Tibet, they don't get taught how to swim. The monks don't learn how to swim. They just learn how to study. And so, of course, honestly, I don't know how anyone that doesn't know how to swim goes that close to a body of water. And because when we're kids in Australia, that's kind of the first thing we're taught is how to swim. So anyway, the coroner took him for autopsy. So they'll find out how he died and when he died. So that's not clear. But anyway, no, it's very, very tragic for his family, for his students, and he has many students all over the world. So it's actually it just feels super, super tragic. So in our group, Tupta Nobu Ling, and also our Monday meditation group here at Ocean of Compassion, we've been dedicating for him.
Thank you.
So that's why I mentioned him. Okay. So I guess everybody else has heard about Geshe Dado. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. So we have got, less than 30 minutes. And so we have one more meditation to do for this session. It's going to be a body scan meditation. So you can settle back into your meditation posture. I want to read you a little bit about about mindfulness and meditative concentration. So just settle back into your meditation posture. And really important to be on top of your sits bones. Because if you're kind of allowing your sacrum to kind of collapse, your chest is going to collapse. So this affects your breathing. So one of the reasons we want to be sitting up as straight as possible, is because it affects the blood flow, it affects the breath, and it also affects the energetic flow. So when we're engaging in stabilizing meditation, we stabilize our attention on an object of meditation through calming the dysfunctional states of the body and the mind that interfere with the process of settling down by keeping our body tense and our mind agitated. So mindfulness is a key element in this process by helping us to sustain the connection between our attention and the object of meditation and preventing distraction. So let's just try that for a moment. Just focus on the sensation of the air flowing in and out of the nostrils. And just notice at what point the mind departs. So as a result of practicing concentration, we can develop a state of meditative absorption known as calm abiding. And this is a state of body and mind that has calmed all the dysfunctionalities, such as unhelpful physical tension and mental agitation, so that the mind can abide steadily and blissfully in meditation with our attention focused without distraction on the object of meditation. So this is a state of deep concentration. So this is why in those Vipassana courses, they start with concentration and they spend 4 days doing it. 4 days of a 10-day course. You learn how to stabilize the mind. even when our concentration is weak and the hindrances are strong. This is often happens during the initial phases of our meditation practice, when we first start learning. Training mindfulness helps to counteract all these unnecessary tensions and agitation in the body. And these tensions and agitations are just habitual, chronic reactivity. So we can develop kind of muscle strength with our mind. In the same way we can do it through our yoga practice, through our workout at the gym, swimming, whatever it is we're doing, walking. We develop sort of strength and habit. So developing the strength of mindfulness in stabilization meditation leads to single-pointed focus of attention and also encourages a more harmonious functioning between the body and the mind. This in turn contributes to better mental, physical, emotional health and well-being. So particularly when we apply mindfulness to our whole body by attending to simple bodily sensations at different parts of the body, this can facilitate the healing of the connection between mind and body and promote the activation of the parasympathetic nervous system that helps us to unwind and release different stress responses. So this meditation we're going to, without touching, we're going to use our mind, putting our attention to different parts of the body. So we want to notice the subtle changes, the sensations at each part of the body. We don't want to force the body to change or relax. We can just simply acknowledge these sensations. So it is, however it is you're turning up today, it's totally fine. It will change. So we acknowledge the sensations that are there without struggling against them or judging them. The key idea is to connect the mind, your attention, with the body. You can also look at the other way, allow the bodily sensations to come fully back into mindfulness. So you can normalize any distractions. This is to be expected. At the end of this meditation, I'll show you the calm abiding map and just where exactly mindfulness is in that map. So we have a little way to go. So be kind to yourself when you're doing your meditation practice and try to encourage yourself. It'll take a while. And rejoice in any tiny steps that you make. The main point is consistency. So even if you only meditate for 1 minute a day, the consistency of that is important, just like with anything. So make sure your hands are comfortable. They don't have to be in the traditional meditation posture. Just relax. Try and keep the body nicely aligned. So bring your awareness to the crown of the head and just notice the sensations there. So do you feel any warmth or tingling? Do you feel tension or slight pressure? Maybe you don't feel anything at all, and that is also fine. Now move your awareness to your face and notice the sensations there. So just release the tension in the forehead, the eyebrows, the eyes, the back of the eye. Release the nose, the cheeks. Release any tension around your mouth. And what about the back of the head? Do you feel tension, tingling? And then relax the jaw. Can you allow a little bit of softening to come into the face, into the jaw? Relax the ears and the temples. And just notice as you release your scalp, how the face relaxes. And notice when you pay attention to a particular part of the face, like release the temples, release the back of the tongue, release the jaw. Notice what else is relaxing. And you allow a little bit of ease and comfort to come into your face. And then just move your awareness down to your throat. To the back of the neck. And just notice the sensations there. And then move down to your shoulders. How are your shoulders feeling today? If you notice any tension or discomfort, just simply acknowledge these sensations for the time being. You don't feel you need to change anything right now. Allow your attention to flow down both arms at the same time. And notice the simple sensations in the upper arms, at both elbows down to your lower arms, and finally arriving in both hands. We sense the sensations in our palms, at the back of the hands, and in our fingers, and having activated all these sensations into awareness, can we rest both arms and hands on our thighs, on our legs, in each other, and release their weight to gravity? But don't collapse. Keep lengthening the spine. Keep breathing. Now coming back to your chest, your heart chakra, your heart center, what do you find there? Can you feel the beating of your heart? The sensation of the breath, the rising and the falling of the chest? As you exhale, take this opportunity to release anything that doesn't really serve you. Just release anything that does not support you. Anything that's unhelpful, unwanted. Just let it go. Now bring your attention down to your belly, your abdomen. And just notice the sensations there. Bring your attention now down to your coccyx, the base of the spine, and your sits bones, and your pelvic bones. And just feel all the sensations in the pelvic bowl. Feel the weight of the pelvis, of the sits bones on your seat. And just allow yourself to release the weight of the pelvis and rest comfortably there. Now allow your attention to flow down both the legs at the same time. And just notice the sensations at the hip joint, the knee joints, your calves, the lower legs, and finally your feet. Just feel the sensations at the soles of your feet. So for those of us in a cross-legged position, we feel the weight of our legs on our feet. For those of you on chairs, you'll feel the weight of your soles of your feet on the floor, the toe pads, the pinky toe, the big toe, soles of the feet, the heels, and the side of the foot, all the weight, the sensation of the feet on the carpet, on the floor, in your shoes, your slippers, your socks. And having activated all the sensations of the body into our awareness, can we just rest in this position? Can we rest our legs, our feet on the ground and release their weight to gravity? And rest our attention here with our body and our breath. So each time we notice ourselves exhaling, use that as an opportunity to release, to deepen the sensation of releasing anything unhelpful, anything that no longer serves you. Release yourself deeper into the present moment, into your meditation. So we're going to meditate like this for 4 minutes. It's very short, so try and keep your focus. If you lose focus, bring your mind back to the sensations in any particular part of the body, maybe the hands or the feet because we're touching those, or your breath. Okay, everyone, just relax. Open your eyes. Now I need to get back on the freeway, so I'm leading Guru Puja in about an hour and a half. Okay. So I wanted, before I get back onto the road and it's raining, so I'm going to have to drive carefully. Does anybody have anything they would like to share? Any questions? Thank you, Rhonda. Is anything they want to share? The other thing that I can give, I can have Bay send my email address out to everyone. So you're very welcome to email me if you would like. Yeah. Because I do realize that we've just done 2 meditations. We've done a moving meditation and we've done 2 mindfulness meditations. So you might be feeling a little yoga stoned, as we call it, meditation stoned. So I wouldn't, it might be just a bit too soon to bring yourselves out. So I'm thinking for those of you who are here in person, just take your time to leave, have a cup of tea. Please don't rush out into the rain. Just relax and go when you feel ready. Is that all right with you, Bay? Yeah, we don't want people dashing out into the weather. Yeah, and please take care of yourselves as you're driving home. Everybody online's at home, right? You're not going anywhere. So you guys all have a nice cup of tea and just relax and think about what we've done today. And please send any questions to me if you have any. I'll be more than happy to answer. There's about 13 lower body part of the prostration. Oh, Mina, did you end up seeing it? Okay. Okay. All right. Kimberly, I need to chat with you later.
Absolutely.
Okay. One question. Oh, Rhonda, you asked that question, right? Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Sorry, I was late. No worries. Okay. All right, Steph. All right, everybody. So I think if no one has anything you want to ask right now, next week is going to be a little bit about the breath. Let me just take you quickly to next week. Whoop, where'd you go? Run. I've lost it. All right. Sorry. Okay. Yeah, it is raining, isn't it? What we'll do next week is we'll revise the body scan meditation. We're going to be looking a little bit about introspection. We're working a little bit with dullness and distraction. And part of that is our phones. We're going to leave them at the door. You busted, you guys. Okay. No, we are finished. So it's totally okay. And then we're going to do some breathing. We'll do some breathing meditation as well. Okay, everybody. So let's just dedicate all the positive energy, all the love and the whatever we've created today doing this meditation practice. Thank you so very much for Ocean of Compassion for putting this course on. It's just delightful. So, and I always just love doing it. So thank you very much. Gives me an opportunity to do it. I'd look really silly doing this by myself. So thank you for coming, everybody. And lots of love. And you guys here drive home safe. Have a cup of tea, everyone at home. And I will see some of you on Monday, some of you online next Saturday. Okay. We're going to be online next Saturday. Okay. Lots of love. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Thank you.